The Challenge Program is a research for development program, and we have always been interested in trying to develop a format. Incidentally, that's part of the reason why we've always called it a forum as opposed to a conference, a dialogue format whereby we can bring together both researchers and people in the development arena, hopefully to be able to learn from each other. One of the key things, anecdotes that I recollect from when we first started talking about this, and it came from a major international, soon after a major international event, where I had noticed that really a lot of the work at the forum, or this conference, seemed to occur around the coffee table. So it became, this was, I mean, particularly with respect to the Vientiane Forum, was really our stepping off point. So the idea was to try to create this dialogue space where this kind of engagement and debate could occur, and where the emphasis was far less on delivering papers or presentations, and far more on dialogue as a vehicle between research and an eventual developmental impact. And I think that was a very key aha moment, was watching researchers argue with enormous passion about what it was that they were doing and the results that they were obtaining, and then watching development professionals responding to that. Science is also intended to be a passionateless enterprise, and I don't know that development is especially good at receiving something without passion. In my experience, development professionals want to hear new ideas, good ideas, passionate ideas, which science can then respond to. And they're not really all that interested in the hardcore scientific stuff that's going on down at ground level. And fine, we can go off and do that stuff. But for them, they want to see that there is a legitimate story behind the science, and that it's going to impact the people that they're concerned about. Key things here is also about, you know, another very common critique within science is complaints about the lack of substance, and concerns about what the kinds of nuggets of knowledge that occur within science have to do with robust methodologies or robust conclusions, whereas the development world is much more persuaded by process and engagement and a lot of the kinds of touchy-feely things that scientists are very uncomfortable with. Well, this forum will be very interesting because you have to remember that with both the first forums, that was all CPWF Phase 1, and in this third forum we have it's a very different context. We only have 6 basins on this occasion. We have this multiplicity of basin development challenges and so on, and yet we're also introducing fairly innovative and new concepts, like, for example, the share fair, and indeed forcing basin leaders to work together in individual forums. With the Mekong session, I'm not entirely sure in what way us and the Andes are going to tease out messages that are mutually applicable. We'll just have to see about that. But again, that speaks very much of a silo. I'm in my Mekong silo. Perhaps Miguel Saravia is in his Andes silo, and we just have to see if these things can come together. So it's always been a learning process, and every forum has been very, very different in character. And I think that's the right way to go. You can only really learn by doing, and via the experiences that we have passed through. And it remains to be seen. We'll see whether or not this next forum coming up gets the equation right, and that all the algebra is properly balanced. The point with dialogue is that it is a two-way process. So within any conference or forum, it's a huge challenge to ensure that the way in which each session is actually structured allows participation from the floor, and that's very, very difficult. And that was part of the reason that, in fact, this has been a tradition throughout all of the forums, is the heavy use of facilitators. To ensure that there is an impartial individual within the room who has no interest in either side of the debate, and who's guiding the discussion and making sure that everybody from the floor has an opportunity to contribute towards the discussion. Now, in some cases that rebounds. I remember from the Vientiane forum that we had complaints about being forced to engage. Of course, that's true. But at the end of the day, if we are going to derive legitimacy from the impact that our science generates, then we can't really do without dialogue.
Okay. So, I mean, I hear things, facilitation, dialogue, working across boundaries, working across disciplines. Are there any other keywords that you think define the forum spirit?
Fun.
Fun?
Yeah, I mean, both in Addis and in Vientiane, we one of the things that we always emphasized was to try to, at the end of a block of sessions, it was almost like cleaning the palate, was to provide a moment of entertainment that had nothing to do with science, had nothing to do with dialogue, and nothing to do with anything. In fact, in many respects, was completely random. In Vientiane, we brought in the Russian circus and the Laotian national breakdance team to provide light entertainment. I vividly remember the marching band in Addis Ababa, which was really very impressive, with twirling sticks and batons and boots and drums and everything. It was extremely impressive. And then, of course, one of the key things that always happens at the forums is the World Dance Night, where we bring in music from all of our basins to try to convey some of the cultural context of the work that we do and the environments in which we work. So, I think that all of these things hang together very, very well, and in many respects that the experiment that we embarked on with these forums was true to this idea of trying to recreate the cafeteria environment within which so many great innovations, certainly in the 20th century, emerged.